How many times have you heard during the bushfire crisis, "Oh, you shouldn't politicise these fires"? Well then whose fault are these fires? Well, that's obvious, the Greens. Why? Why shouldn't we politicise the issue? Because it makes Liberal voters feel uncomfortable that they prioritise negatively gearing their investment properties over people's homes burning down? No. Tragedies are the perfect time to gloat. Just to rub in how much Australia fucked up in the last election, and by Australia I mean Queensland, nice going mango munchers. Hey, we invented waste bars, show some respect! Small price to pay. I'd much prefer to just live with Bubble-O Bill. The Bubble-O part refers to bubble gum. And to keep your attention while we're explaining that point, we're using meme format. Oblivion! GNOME! Wow. Can't explain that. Classic on the issues format, Bill Shorten versus Fuckhead. Thank you very much, unofficial Australian of the Year Paul Parker from Nelligan, for dubbing him as such. That should be his name in the Hall of Prime Ministers. Tony Abbott, Malcolm Turnbull, Fuckhead. Because under Labor, contributions to the National Aerial Firefighting Centre were 50% from the federal government. Under the Liberals, it has fallen to 23%. Why? So we could get back in black and, oh no, now the sky's back in black. Curse this moisture deficit. Then, after the most devastating bushfires in Australia's history, Scott Morrison, the man whose only impressive trait is that he is infuriatingly unimpressive. No, that's not true. I also look like every dad from the Shire and, no, point taken. This is what he decided in his infinite suburban wisdom after his well-deserved holiday. $11 million back in hat. It's too late, mate. Shut the hell up and shake my hand. And to give you an idea of just how piddly that amount is, at the moment, we're sharing a lot of our aerial craft with Canada and the US, so 2.2 million of that went straight into losses due to unfavourable foreign exchange rates. That's the Prime Minister you elected. You ordering stuff on eBay. Oh, beer hat that's only $19.95. Why not? And oh no, that's American dollary dues. Oh, now I've got no Aussie dollary dues. Think about how insular and solipsistic the average voter is to think, yeah, I like Scott Morrison because he's like me. Clearly the correct choice, Australia, when the alternative was Bill Shorten offering to not only restore aerial firefighting funding back to its original point, but on top of that, to spend $80 million on building a national firefighting fleet. So let's go back to that on the issues format. That would have been Bill Shorten's response. Fuckheads, thoughts and prayers. You're watching the cricket. Yeah, I'll pray in the ad break and, oh wait, Tubbs is telling me about a sweet Fujitsu ducted air conditioner. Yeah. That does look cold. People ask me, how do you explain this to Liberal voters? Well, seeing as that their response over and over to the devastation that they caused is, what are you doing to help? You heard me. How are you helping to fix my mess? You don't seem to be fighting the fires personally, you soy boy, or in the military kicking ass. Are you? No, I'm busy collecting revenue from the 2 investment properties I own and not donating a fucking cent. You have no idea how long it takes to negotiate those contracts with Ray White. 40 minutes? Half an hour. I've earned it. That's what they seem to react to. Who's physically doing the most stuff? Yeah! So let's put it in these terms. Policy in action. Labor's $80 million national firefighting fleet would have been made from retrofitted Black Hawk helicopters. Whoa, that's army turned firefighting. And you liked Elvis, right? Yeah, R.I.P. the King. Well, it turns out when he died, he literally went to the sky. Capable of scooping both salt and fresh water with the manners left over to say, thank you very much. Oh yeah, manners are missing these days. So don't talk to me about who's doing what, Liberal voters. I voted for a guy that wanted to make a firefighting air force. You voted for the guy that literally sat on his ass. I don't know why, but for some reason he really speaks to me. On the Issue State Edition, Daniel Andrews vs. Koala Killer. Koala Killer cut emergency services in 1 year by around $150 million. This video goes into more detail about that, but also the Michael West article, who you should really read, by the way, because he's basically the only journalist in the country with a soul. Him and, of course, the credibility powerhouse that is David Spears. Today on Agenda, the panel will be discussing, am I ever going to not look like I'm 14? But if you can't be bothered to read the article, just watch an episode of The Wire. It's the same thing. He could have saved himself a lot of time by getting guest journalist Herc to write the article in 5 words. Shit always rolls downhill. You're going to elaborate on that? What's to elaborate on? I want to bust some heads. Some of the lowlights of the Liberals he highlights. Fire mitigation. You know what that does? Mitigate fires. How would it come in handy? That spending fell from $12 million under Labor to $8.8 million under the Liberals and dipped as low as 4.2 million in 2015. The number of tankers went from 7,530 under Labor to 6,288 under the Liberals. Emergency services chiefs were clearly pressured not to spend their entire budgets in the era of dangerous climate change, even though they were already slashed by 10% by Koala Killer. But you know who she was absolutely fine with going over budget? How much is it going to cost to demolish these perfectly good stadiums and rebuild them? Oh, about $2 billion. Well, I don't see anything insane with investing in that. We elected the bad guy from Fifth Element. See, because I broke something, now all these little drones have a job. Now compare that to Daniel Andrews in Victoria, who was much more effective at handling the bushfires. And this is because of a theory that I have, and it might sound a bit crazy, but hear me out. If you don't elect governments that white ant public services, the public services work better. The Victorian Labor Party did this out-of-the-box experimental practice called listening to experts. When the experts told the Liberals that fires were getting worse, their response was, no handouts, only handshakes. The Labor Party's response was, that's very interesting, Mr. Expert in the field of bushfires. How does $100 million sound? And then just put this little hand on Daniel Andrews' Dr. Evil, like that.
Dude, you made that joke like 2 videos ago.
No, it wasn't. It was $1 million last time.
Oh, whatever.
Since the Andrews government has come to power, CFA spending has risen by $170 million. And to give you a picture of what that looks like, the total expenses budget for Victoria's voluntary fire service is $644 million. New South Wales, $444 million. New South Wales is 3 times the size of Victoria. It has a drier climate and 2 million more taxpayers, yet its fire service receives $200 million less. That's why the Liberals don't want the bushfires politicised, because if the politics of the bushfires was understood by the general public, not only would they be booted out of office for their criminal conduct, they'd be in jail, which is why I want you to get this hashtag trending. Hashtag Scomo for prison. Well, actually, the reason that I want that trending is so I can sell some of these sweet shirts from Lonely Kids Club. Oh no! Guys, can you flick it onto the cricket? Lonely Kids Club, such legends. If you buy a hashtag Koala Killer or a hashtag Scomo for prison shirt, all the profits go to worthy causes. Together, so far, we've raised almost $250,000. That is going to sustain millions of animals that would have otherwise starved. That's why you need to get this hashtag trending. Not for me, for the animals. Your parents don't know shit! They suck! Give me money or the wombat dies! Like the video! Like it!
Please share and comment below. Comment.